I'm sorry, operator, I can't hear you.
Hey, I'm talking here, dude.
Hey, folks. Steve Rizzo here, and welcome to Hey, I Am Talking Here. I'm talking here. I'm talking right here. This is a show about empowerment. This is a show that I guarantee you can not only take you to a better place personally, but professionally. And in my view, that is the ultimate success. And this show is brought to you by the Bob Project and, of course, Conversations with Bob. Conversations with Bob is a book that took me 8 years to write. It's finally out. It's at the printers now. It will be out soon. I know I keep telling you that every episode, but it's not my fault. And for those of you who are curious as to who Bob is the power that resides in each and every one of us that always brings out the best in us, regardless of our circumstances. Now, some people call this power their higher nature, their true self. Some people call it the universe, the light, the force. Most people call it God, but I happen to call him Bob. And if you want to know why, well, you're going to have to read the book when it comes out. What really matters is that this power has the answers to all of your questions and solutions to all of your problems. All you need to do is to learn how to connect with it and communicate with it. In the book, Conversations with Bob shows you how. And I'm very certain actually, that I think after you've read that book from cover to cover, you will have a profound understanding as to how much power you really have over every aspect of your life. I'm not bragging. I'm simply stating the way it is. Did I say simply? Simply. I can make mistakes. I simply am stating the way it is. And right now, it's my pleasure to introduce to you my team, my main people. We have my tech guy, my director, and my producer. Bruce, why don't you show yourself? Wow, Bruce, your hair looks good today. Dude.
Yeah, actually, I brushed it and combed it today.
Wow.
And I
Cool.
did not wear a hat. Usually when I wear a hat, it turns into a hat day and it gets all flattened. So I purposely did not wear a hat.
Trimmed your beard too.
I think I did that.
Yeah.
Because I knew I had to prepare for your show.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So last week on another show, Scott McCain was telling us a great story, because I heard you and Eric talking before the show about his daughter. And he was talking about the difference between training and education. And I know he loves this line, but the difference is, so you've got a 16-year-old daughter. Would you rather her go to sex education or sex training?
That's great. That's a great line. I love Scott too. And we're going to have him on the show soon, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great line. That's a funny line. I love that. Yeah, that's really cool. And let me, without any further ado, let me bring up the one and only, my co-host, Eric, the Bam Man, and a toast to you, my friend.
Cheers.
And Bruce, you don't drink wine or anything, right?
I don't drink wine on camera.
Cheers.
Why?
Basically, it's because you never, especially where I grew up and the way my parents reared me, was you never take a picture with a drink in your hand.
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know why I engage in conversations with him sometimes. Bruce, can you take the "Hey, I'm talking here" off my face?
Yeah, like it's like I'm the star of the show here, and that's just I love the intro with Pee Wee Herman, and I have to tell you the thing I love about Pee Wee Herman. Hey, Missy, there's Missy.
Hey, Missy, love you.
Theodore Legal is on. Our boy Randy Chafee is on. What I love about Pee Wee Herman is we used to make fun of his suits and those small little Italian suits. And you know, Steve, because we've been talking about it. I love The Bachelor on Monday nights, right? I know we call each other during the show on Mondays, but that's what all these young dudes now are wearing, those suits with the little short pants, and it's kind of crazy. We made fun of that stuff back in the day.
And a lot of them had their Pee Wee Herman haircut too.
Yeah,
it's a little thing in the front there, dude.
Yeah. Hey, I'm excited for the show. We've talked about it over the last couple of weeks, and I'm excited to kind of, get into this and kind of talk about work-life balance a little bit and what that looks like. Because I know you've got a lot of insight, and so I'm just, me and Stretch, we're just excited to be here. So
does Stretch have any clothes on underneath that?
No, he's got just some
Oh.
little panties there, you know.
Yeah,
So
he's got
it's
a
all
nice
good.
butt.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's got the abs like you've got there.
Yeah,
You and
that's good.
John.
Yeah.
You and John go to that Italian restaurant, eat some meatballs, and you get like abs like that.
No, see, when I go to the Italian restaurant, I'm health conscious. Everybody makes fun of me. I usually eat like a Greek salad or a Caesar salad with blackened chicken or something like that.
There you
It's
go.
very rare that I eat,
I see a comment just popped up from my boy Joe Batterson, who I'm going to meet for karaoke in a little bit. And Joe said, "Stretch." Joe,
Hey,
Joe,
Joe.
look, I've got big Stretch and little Stretch. I might have to bring him to karaoke here in a little
That's
bit.
pretty cool. And I'd like to throw a shout out to Missy Lavelle, who is doing a wonderful job. She is my social media marketer, and she's wonderful. And if any one of you out there needs someone to promote you social media wise, Missy's the one to go to. She's wonderful.
We've got the Rizzo memo coming up, but before we do, Ted, Randy, Missy, Joe, if you're watching, be sure and like, share, comment. Tell us what you had to eat for lunch today. We want to know everything, but please like and share for sure. So I think it's time for the Rizzo memo, right?
It actually is, and then we will discuss after the Rizzo memo. Thanks, Eric.
The Rizzo memo.
Memo. Lately, hot off the presses. Lately, I have been hearing a lot of people complaining that they're overwhelmed and stressed out over their jobs. And one way to handle this, to be honest with you, is simply take time off and do something that lifts your spirit, that makes you feel better. Why not? You deserve it, don't you? Unfortunately, though, there are those who insist that they can't afford to take time out from their jobs and careers. But in actuality, when you think of the consequences, you really cannot afford not to. Listen, taking time off is not a waste of time. It's a recharging of your inner battery. This year, I've been working diligently on a variety of new projects. I've been going crazy, especially because of the pandemic and trying to catch up. And these past few weeks, I noticed that I was feeling very, very anxious, and my optimistic attitude was slowly dissipating. I felt like I wasn't really reaping the fruits of my labor fast enough. I had serious doubts that I ever would. And it was obvious to me that the door to the negative zone was wide open, and I was about to walk in. And I wasn't going to let that happen because of what I do for a living. So I decided to take, and I did this, and it worked. And this is why I'm sharing this with you. I decided to take a 3-day weekend off from work, free from emails, cell phones, text messages. In other words, I was putting my entire career on temporary hold. And I promised myself that I wouldn't make any decisions regarding my new projects. And I didn't. I didn't at all. My only goal was to engage in activities that would make me feel good. And that's exactly what I did. And within those 3 days, folks, I read a book. I spent quality time with friends and family members. I took long walks on the beach by myself. I looked at classic movies. Now, this might sound a little boring or unproductive or, something that's just not what you would do. But to me, these things are the things that nourish my soul. And everyone has those things that nourish their souls. And somewhere along the way, though, I lost sight of that, and I had to bring it back. Taking time off was very refreshing, to say the least. And it made me realize that I was blowing most of my concerns out of proportion. And I think that was the biggest benefit of it. I simply got caught up, and we all do from time to time. This special timeout gave me the positive energy that I needed to move forward with clarity and confidence. Now, I'm not asking anyone, I don't want you to think this, I'm not asking anyone to run away from your responsibilities at work, not at all. I'm suggesting that simply you step away from time to time. When you allow yourself to step away from the worry and the chaos that so often comes with success, you're not quitting. You're not quitting at all. You're simply connecting to a part of you that always, always brings out the best in you. And one more thing, when you eventually decide to go back to work, don't be surprised when new insights to the very problems that were causing you stress suddenly begin to reveal themselves as opportunities. And that, my friends, is the Rizzo memo. I thought that was pretty good. That be the Rizzo memo. And where did Eric go?
Well, I'm that's a touchdown. That's a touchdown. Touchdown. There we go.
What were
I
you
think
doing?
Bruce-
Sipping wine?
No, I think Bruce fell asleep for a second. I'm not even sure. I love that. I love this whole conversation. We've got people jumping in. Ted says hi again. Brian, my friend Brian Weevil is on. I see him. Joey Fusco is on. Probably
Joe
a friend of
Fusco
yours.
is Joe. Joe is a wonderful friend of mine. We became friends, and I spoke for his group a few times years ago, and we finally connected again after so many years. As a matter of fact, we had a wonderful conversation yesterday via Zoom. Joe's a great guy, a very smart person. Joe is what you would call a natural teacher, and yeah, cool guy.
Well,
Cool.
I love this conversation. I think one of the things you said was getting away and recharging. And I think
Hey,
that's
Brian.
one of the things as Americans we're bad at. There's Coach Bill from Liberty Baseball. We're bad sometimes as Americans of just recharging our batteries and being okay with it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think you and I talked last week or the week before about there's an old Zig Ziglar quote about American workers that when we're at work, we're too busy thinking about being at home. And when we're at home, we're too busy thinking about being at work. And if we would just focus, just focus for 4, 5, 6 hours, not even 8, just 4, 5, 6 hours and really get after it. I think it's amazing how much more work we'd probably accomplish if we did that. And, one of my thoughts over the last couple of years is you hear the term, work-life balance. And I think it's really more work-life integration because of this and the world we live in now with this and this doesn't go away. And you've got to find your times to get away from it. Like you talked about, take a 3-day weekend, pull back from it.
You have to force yourself to do it. And I want people to understand this. And that's such a poignant thing to say, because today's topic is called, "Are you married to your job?" And I think most people think that, this applies to high achievers, people who just can't stop working. It's not just about that. It's about people who don't even like their jobs. I mean, if you're walking around when you're finished with your work and you're complaining about your work, you're married to your job.
Yeah.
And if you're at the dinner with friends and you're having a nice conversation and all this one person keeps talking about is his job, the chances are this person, this man, this woman is married to their job. And people need to know that we get so caught up today in trying to make a living that we're forgetting what it's like to live. There are other aspects of our life. I call them ingredients that make up the recipe who we are. And sometimes people get so caught up in the stuff that they don't realize until they get to a point where they're saying something's missing. And I'll give you an example. A couple of years ago, I was speaking I was a keynote speaker in Hawaii for a major corporate company. I don't like the name of the companies. And there was one guy there. He was in his late 20s and he was voted Salesman of the Year 3 years in a row. Okay.
Damn.
And I had a long talk with him. We sat at the bar together. We're drinking wine. And I looked at him. I said, "What's up?" And he said, "What?" I said, you seem a little uneasy." He goes, "Steve," he goes, I got to tell you, I was listening to what you were saying today and it resonated and it struck a chord. And I said, "Well, you're really successful. You just won this thing 3 years in a row." And he goes, "I'm successful, but I don't feel fulfilled." And I just looked at him. I said, "Well, that's a heavy statement to make." I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He goes, "Something's missing." And I allowed him to talk. I said, "What is it?" And he said, I don't know. It's not. I said, "You do know. Think about it. What's missing? What is it that you love in your life, as simple as it may seem, that you're not doing?" And it just hit him, and he got pretty emotional. He goes, "My communion with nature is absolutely gone." He said, I used to appreciate a wonderful sunrise and sunset. I used to meditate and pray as the sun was rising. He said, I can't remember the last time I enjoyed doing that. He goes, "I have a mountain bike that I've never used. I used to go on the dirt roads on weekends, but now I'm bringing my work home with me on the weekends." He goes, and I said, "So I believe," and I'm making a long story short here. I said, "I believe you have the answers within you somewhere." And I said, "It's not a matter of pushing yourself to do something. It's a matter of shifting your balance. It's all you have to do." I said, "I bet you If you sit down and think and talk to that part of yourself that has all the answers to all of your questions and solutions to your problems, the answer will come to you. It was about a month and a half later. He emailed me. He asked if I can have the phone number. We called. He talked to me, and he said, "Wow, it was so simple, man. I couldn't believe it. I was able to balance my life and still do what I needed to do to become the top salesperson. And it was just a matter of taking a 3-day weekend once a month, getting up an hour early to appreciate the sunrise and to do the meditation and to promise himself if he did take something home for the weekend, it would only be a half-day thing on a Saturday or a Sunday, and that would be it."
Right.
And he felt like he got his life back. So it's not a big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that's out there is time away from time to time is an investment in ourselves. Love
Absolutely.
He's spot on. I think, one of the things that I told you was there's a stat out there that if you and I met each other for the first time, and let's say we're sitting at a hotel bar and there's a bar stool in between us, that one of us will say to the other within 3 minutes, "So what do you do?" And we instantly say, "Well, I'm a comedian," or I'm a motivational speaker. I write, but I'm an author. I say, "Well, I'm in the pizza industry." And we don't say, "You should see me father," or "You should see me be a freaking husband." We don't say, "I'm the best Christian on the planet." We don't talk about that stuff because so much of our life is defined by what we do because we spend so many hours doing it. That we do tend to, like that story you're talking about, we tend to almost step away from the stuff that we know is our true north and what's important to us.
Yeah. And you know what happens to us too? I think sometimes one of my favorite sayings is time has a cruel way of saying, "I told you so."
Yeah.
And sometimes you reach a certain age, and I don't know if I told you the story before, and if I did, I don't give a shit. I'm going to tell you anyway.
Tell it again, baby.
I was with a friend of mine at a bar in Palm Springs, and a very, very important guy. He's on all the news channels as an expert in his field, and he was in his mid-70s. And I said, "Man," I said, "you've done it all." And he goes, "Yeah, yeah." And I could always read people. I mean, I could tell. And it was like the conversation I had with the guy who was salesman for the year for 3 times. And I said, "Hey, what's up? What's up?" He goes, "I just feel I missed too much." And he goes, "I missed time that I'll never get back." And he got pretty emotional. I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "Well, I missed my daughter's dance recitals. I missed my son's Little League games. I missed so much." I said, but sometimes there's a sacrifice. I said, "Look at you. You're well known on all the news channels." And I said, "These are things that needed to be." And he stopped me. He said, "No, as I look back now, I realize I didn't need to do all that. I didn't need to get on a plane and go here. There were some things I could have said no to. And I know I could have. And I still would have reached the same status, I think." He goes, "But I just got caught up on who I thought I was, that now who I know I am, and I'm looking back and I missed so much, and I'll never get that time back."
Yeah.
Lesson learned.
One of the things that bothers me sometimes when, and I listen to a lot of motivational stuff, it's the way I'm wired. And you'll hear people say, "Well, if you hate your job, quit." Well, that's not realistic for Americans, right? But I will tell you, if you hate your job, if you truly hate your job, what's the plan to find something new? And one of the things I would say, if somebody's watching this and they say, "I absolutely hate my job." All right. What happens is a lot of people go to LinkedIn to go find a new job. But what they should do is, while they're at their current job, they should jump on LinkedIn and be posting every day about what they're doing, what their successes are. Because 2 things happen. Number one, when we talk about our successes at our job or with our children or with our spouse, we actually tend to become more engaged to it and enjoy it because we realize that we are successful. And B, what happens is other people that are watching us and see what we're posting and what we're talking about. Wow, that guy does a good job. That guy does a good job. And I'm gonna throw out one other thing. If you're a little stagnant, like you don't hate your job, but work is a little stagnant, and you've got an office, and this sounds so cheesy, right? This sounds stupid cheesy, but you remember being a little kid and your mom walked into your room and she's like, "What are you doing?" "I'm rearranging my room." Like, go to work tomorrow and rearrange your whole office. Turn your desk, put it this way, turn everything around, because chances are 99% of people walk into their office and they can close their eyes and not even think about it. Change it. Change the way you drive to work. Change the coffee shop you might hit. Change, where your office is. Hell, go sit in the conference room and change it up. And just sometimes just that little change makes all the difference in the world.
You hit a very basic point of psychology, and that's true, because some people don't like their jobs because they don't realize they're caught in a rut. They have created a habit, not only at work, they get up the same time. They put the coffee on at the same time. They turn on the news at the same time. They sit in bed under the covers with the coffee cup at the same time, the same channel. They get up, they take a shower. And this stuff can destroy the human spirit. And it can actually make you think that you don't like your job that much, because you're doing the same thing. Some people have been doing it for 20 years or so. If you shift, that's a great advice, Eric, because if you shift, make that slight shift and start doing things differently. I used to rearrange my office so often, people stopped asking. Yeah, Missy.
I'm telling you, it sounds silly, but it's really powerful. Brian Monahan, break the chain.
That's right, Brian.
You change it up.
But you can't break it unless you're aware that something's wrong, and that's the key. You have to become aware, and you ask yourself questions. Well, I'm unhappy. Then ask yourself why. Because another part of you will answer that question. You got to get in tune with that part of yourself, the Bob part of yourself. As a matter of fact, speaking of Bob, I think it's time for the word according to Bob. And
let's do it, baby. Let's do it.
Damn it.
You know who wants to hear the word according to Bob?
and he loves Stretch Man does. Yes.
Stretch loves the word according to Bob. Let's hear it.
But let me give a little introduction to this first. It's called Are You Married to Your Job? Bingo. And the messages that you hear in the Word According to Bob segment are part of the message that's in the book, The Word According to Bob. So without any further ado, Bruce, hit it. One day, I was sitting on a beach in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and I noticed a couple holding hands and walking along the shoreline. They looked so peaceful, like an advertisement for an island getaway. And then it happened. His cell phone went off. The woman gave him a look as if to say, "Go ahead, I dare you." I couldn't believe it. The idiot took the dare. Not only did he answer the phone, but he let go of her hand and walked away and talked for 10 minutes. The woman just shook her head in disgust, walked over to their beach setup, which was maybe just 20 feet from mine, and she sat down. By now, the couple looked like prime candidates for the Dr. Phil show. Now, he walked over to her and he tried to explain, but what I heard in my head was the catchphrase that boxing fans know so well. "Let's get ready to rumble." Ding, ding, the woman came out swinging. "How could you?" she said. "I can't believe you brought your phone with you, but you had the nerve to answer it again." Now, what the guy should have done was just listen to what she had to say. But of course, he didn't. "Hey," he jabbed in his defense, "if it wasn't for my business, we wouldn't be on this vacation." The woman rebounded with a couple of blows. "Really? You call this a vacation? This is our anniversary, for crying out loud. We've been here for 3 days so far, and you can't stay away from your cell phone. And just so you know, I have a job too with a lot of responsibilities, but I know when to put it aside. You bring your job with you everywhere you go. It's like you're addicted." She picked up her stuff in a huff, and she started to walk, took a couple of steps towards the hotel. Then she stopped. She turned and delivered the final blow. "You know, we used to be married to each other," she said. "Now, you're married to your job." Does this story come as a surprise? I mean, let's face it. We're living in a world that's moving at an incredible pace. And it's easy to get lost with misplaced feelings and values. I know far too many people today who were so caught up in trying to make a living that they've forgotten what it's like to live. We've adopted the illusion that money, power, and fame can fill the emptiness and make us feel complete. Now, don't get me wrong, because I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with these things, not at all. It's the obsession with them that really makes them dangerous. What am I getting at? I'll tell you. Maybe it would be wise for us to come to the realization that sometimes what we think we want in life may not necessarily be what we need in order to lead a truly successful, happy life. Maybe, just maybe, we're leaving out important personal factors from the equation of what truly completes us as individuals. Maybe it's just a simple matter of occasionally taking a sacred time out to nourish our souls. Maybe it's just a matter of making a slight shift, finding your balance and choosing a better way. Or maybe there are just too many maybes in this story. And that's the word, according to Bob.
Love it. Love it. I know you like to keep the show about 30 minutes, but we got a couple other comments that I want to run through real quick.
Sure, let's do it.
Well, we've got, if you're living life too large, you forget to live life, because living life large costs money. Making money takes time, our biggest commodity. And we do. Ted's right. We forget about some of the little things. The comment I want to talk about is the one from Eric Flournoy. Can you throw that up there? You see that one, Bruce? I don't hate my job, but I feel in my gut that I'm missing my call, but I haven't really connected with what my call is, or I could be in denial of it. This right here is probably so many people in the United States. Like, we feel something and it's our gut. And I've said this before on this show. I think we don't listen to our gut enough. I think it's a muscle we need to learn to exercise. I think your gut is God. I think it's Bob. I think it's the universe. And so, Eric, I don't know you. You don't know me. Maybe you know Steve, but man, exercise that muscle. And maybe it's a matter of praying about it. Maybe it's a matter of standing in the shower by yourself for 30 minutes and really just let the water hit on your head and just like, what is this that I need to do? Because there's something pulling at you saying this isn't it and this isn't enough.
Well,
right?
and that's it. That is so well said, Eric. And I'd like to add to that, because there is something. It's that a higher part of you is saying something to you. And that's the part that I call Bob. And you can call it what you want. I'm not forcing anything on anybody. What I'm saying is you should be congratulating yourself because you're aware that something's not right in your life. You're aware that something's missing. Now it's up to you to find out what it is and occasionally take long walks and ask, just say it to yourself. Just say, you can even say it out loud as you're walking in a park or around the corner or whatever, and say, what's missing? What is it? What is my calling? I know there's something, I can feel it. And I think you know what it is. It just hasn't revealed itself yet to you on a conscious level.
Well, and I think he may know what it is. He's just a freaking wuss bag about doing it. I mean, it could be that he said that. He made, and part of that's in the comment where, like, maybe, you know, like, I don't be a wuss, Eric. Go chase it down. And still work your 40-hour-a-week job, but invest in it at night and figure it out.
I was just going to say
that's what it's about.
That's exactly what I, you know, Eric, you know, when I was doing stand-up, I had this calling, as you know, to do something else, to be a motivational speaker. And I was petrified because I was very successful as a comedian. The entertainment industry was interested in me and all that. And I had to make this shift. And it took me years. I kept asking myself questions. How can I do it? Because I knew nothing about it. What do I need to do? And as I was doing my stand-up all around the country and doing my thing, I was investigating on this other part of myself that was saying, this is what you need to be doing. And it took years to do it. I finally made the shift. But it came from constantly asking myself questions, knowing that at some point, somehow, some way, the answer will reveal itself. And the answer can come from something you're watching on TV, a billboard as you're driving, a bumper sticker on the back of somebody's car, a conversation that you hear. You know, when I wrote my book, Conversations with Bob, I was asking myself all these questions. Is this going to make sense? How am I going to do this? People might not get this. What should I do? And as I'm asking myself, am I doing the right thing? I put the TV on. I'm going through the channels, and it clicked on Field of Dreams. And the very scene that came on is when they were at the stadium, and the voice came by and said, "Build it, and they will come." That was the answer I needed. You know, just
you know what's interesting about that? The day you called me and said, "Hey, do you want to do this show with me?" I happened to be holding Stretch Armstrong, And I was like, oh, I'm in. I'm in. I do. Brian Monahan threw up a couple of comments. Barry Butler said, wow, that was powerful talking about the Bob segment. But Brian Monahan says everything has a cost and passion follows action. And I love both of those because everything does have a cost, good and bad.
Yeah.
Right. But focused or not focused, it just the cost with going to a crappy job it can wear you out. And there's also a cost with being the sales rep of the year for 3 years in a row. And maybe it's losing that focus on just nature and family and God and whatever that is. But I love passion follows action. Brian's heard this from me 100 times, but I never want to be a thought leader. I want to be a thought and takes action leader. Things we can think it all day long. And for Eric B, who made the comment about, what's my calling? Well, take action behind what that is. One of the things I'm going to show it just because we were talking about it earlier, but talking about my goal card, right? And one of the things I had written down was a new house this year, and it's on my goal card. And I'm doing that because I took the time. It sounds to some people, it sounds cheesy to sit there and go, what do I really want? Right? Whether it's a job or it's a house or a career or a relationship with Steve Rizzo or 100 Stretch Armstrongs. What do you want? And you've got to write it down. You've got to listen to your gut. You've got to work that muscle and then go chase that shit. Go chase it.
Yeah, do it. And something else that everyone needs to know too, because life really is too short. It really is. And your whole entire life, and I'm not trying to scare anybody here, but your whole entire life is based on the choices that you make.
Yeah.
And for every single choice that you make, whether it's made consciously or unconsciously, there is always a consequence. And I say that because most choices that we make are made unconsciously. As a matter of fact, where you folks are at this point in your life, I don't know where you are or what it is that a lot of you do, but where you are at this point in your life is based on choices that you made at some point in the past. Those choices are the key factors that determine the quality of life that you have right now. If you I
want to like be rude here and interrupt because you're a little older than me and way wiser than me. How many people's lives are defined by the choices they don't make?
But that's a choice too.
Well, good point. See, that's why you're wise. That's why you're wise. That's why you're wise. Look, I know we're gonna wrap this up. I told you I'm gonna start doing my wine of the week. I'm drinking a Bogle Cabernet today. It's very inexpensive and I like it. And so there you go. I know you were drinking the Conundrum again. Eric, you've managed people before. Did you encourage them to achieve balance, or was the message to your salesman pedal to the metal? Lloyd, I love Lloyd. Lloyd, it was always pedal to the metal. Just kidding. You know what? Lloyd and I know each other very well, and at one point managed, quite a few salespeople, and it is about trying to find the balance and when can you pull away, and it's work-life integration, right?
Yeah.
Work-life balance is a misnomer. It's not real. It's integration. It's like, well, when can I cut out and look? I've done this and this and this, and I've hit this and done, but I'm going to my daughter's rehearsal. I'm going to my daughter's, play.
Yeah.
I'm cutting out to do those things. But so many people, I think one of the things that's interesting to me in the United States, people don't do a lot of that stuff or don't take vacation because they're afraid they will get fired. It's stupid. You're not gonna get fired. You're not gonna get fired. So Dave, the answer is other people's money, other people's effort, other people's time. Use this principle to enhance your life. We forget to work together to reduce the work. It's a good point.
Yeah.
Work together, right?
I want to get everyone's comments before we sign off. So
Dave Duncan said, looking forward to seeing you in Charlotte. There you go.
Yes, I will be there in Charlotte. I will be there the 20th, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, Dave. Thank you. Looking forward to seeing you. Please, as soon as I'm there and you see me, let's approach each other and say hello. And I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be an incredible event. And
Joe Batterson says, choose your hard. Nothing worth doing is easy. I like that. Choose your hard. That's a great comment. There you go. Choose your hard. By the way, Stretch Armstrong.
Nothing worth it is easy. And I don't know if I quite agree with that. I understand what he's saying, but I do believe that it's part of the human condition to make life more difficult than it has to be.
Right.
It really is. We go into something and we're just like petrified, like that Mr. Flannery guy who says there's something missing. He knows he should be doing something else. Talk to your fear, talk to it, and just acknowledge and say, I know you're there, but there's something else, and you have to step aside because I have to find out what it is.
Randy 2.0, Randy Chafee, love what you do and do what you love. If you don't, you have two choices. One, figure out why you don't love what you do and fix it. Or two, work towards something you do love. And I think the number two in that is the hard part for people to let go and to, and maybe rambling a little bit at this point, but
keep it going.
Two glasses of wine. But I think sometimes the hardest part about us looking at what we do and saying, I want to go do something else is to maybe internally admit we failed. Even though that's how we learn. We learn from failure. As I've gotten older, I don't want to say I love to fail, but I'm okay if I failed. If I didn't get the business, well, why didn't I? What happened? What did I do? How could we be better? How can we be
that's it. Those are the questions. If you fail, and if you learn from it, you didn't fail, because that's why we're here on this planet. We're here to experience, to learn, to grow, and to become the person we're meant to become. And how you experience all the things that happen to your life, the things that you label as good or bad, right or wrong, fair or unfair, will determine what you learn. That continued learning would lead to your growth. That growth leads to who and what you become. And our job is to become the best person that we can possibly be. And it's okay to make a mistake. I told my son since he was a little kid, I tell my grandkids, there's no mistakes. They're called do-overs.
Yeah.
They're mistakes if you don't do it over. They're mistakes if you don't learn anything from it. You little bastard.
Hey, Bruce, there's a comment from Brian Monahan. If you hate your job, find something you like and scale back what you don't like. There you go.
Thank you for all the comments.
Feed what you love and starve your distractions. Brian Monahan, Bob and Bam Truth Bombs. I love that. Eric B says, I wish I could make the Charlotte. Hopefully I can on the next one. Eric, get your ass there. I don't want to wrap this up too early, but when we do wrap this up, Bruce, the Barry Butler comment, save it for the very last. There you go. Let's just save it for the last thing. Whenever Steve's done wrapping up, put that thing up because I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. We'll put that up in a minute. If there are any other comments before that, Bruce, so put them up. And folks, I can't thank you enough for the comments because this show is relatively new. We plan on taking this to the top. We're very confident that we can. Our main goal is to get the message out. Eric and I, we become friends real fast, and that's what this is about. Today it's not easy today. We're so caught up in so much stuff, and we're just giving strategies that can help you to get from one place to another and to enjoy what it is that you have, even though you think you might not have that much. Is this the theater? Is this the thing?
No, that's not it. That's not it. Instead of shifting, reinvent what you like. I love it. I love it. I love it. Throw up the Barry Butler comment, please, Bruce, and we'll wrap this bad boy up for today. I wasn't going to come on today because I'm out and just had an epiphany that may change my year or life. Thanks.
Wow, Barry, you just said it all, dude. Thank you so much, and please continue. This show is usually every other Thursday, and it's going to be from now on. Hi, Elisa. Lisa is my director of business.
Hello, Lisa.
Oh yeah, I can't. She's wonderful. I've known her for quite some time. We've had our ups and downs a few times too, but we always manage to make it work. But here's the thing: this show is every other Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So
does your head hurt? Does your head hurt thinking like that?
I don't know. Like people always say to me, Steve, why do you hold your head? Maybe I'm thinking my hair is going to grow back in. I don't know. But that's how I think, actually. So it's every other Thursday. The next show will be not this Thursday coming. What's the next Thursday after that, Eric? Do you have a calendar?
I don't even know. Hey, we didn't even pull up, Bruce, before we get out of here. Can you pull up that picture that I sent you earlier? Because we didn't even talk about that today. And I think, and maybe we're past it now at this point, but there you go. How we're taught to measure success is two things: salary and job title. And here's a better measure: mental health, job title, salary, free time, liking what you do, and physical health. And maybe that's something we can post in the comments after, Bruce, and you can pull that down. But that right there is more of a great measure of if you're being successful. It's not about your title. It's not about your salary. It's about, are you sprinkling in all those other things that are so much more, not much. They're all important.
Yeah.
They're all important.
And I got a calendar. The next show is going to be March 17th, Thursday, March 17th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And tell your friends, as Eric said, please share with everyone. We're trying to get the message out, and we know you folks can help. I love your comments. Thank you. Great salesmen know if they work smart, sales will come. Pedal to the metal equals burnout. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That happens with a lot of overachievers, man. They take their work with them when they go to bed, and they wake up doing the same thing.
Well, I know where I used to think I was a loser, then I realized that I was only a failure and I could fix that.
Oh,
boom, goes
Dave.
dynamite.
Dave, that's great, man.
That's huge.
I'm stealing that.
That's absolutely
No, that's great,
actually
man.
I quoted that. Actually, Dave, you owe me a nickel for saying that. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, Eric.
Steve, I know we got to wrap this up, but do you know what I love about you?
What?
Everything.
You know what I love about you? Absolutely.
Half of it.
Nah, I do. And Bruce, by the way, Bruce, we love you too. No, man, I'm so glad you're part of the show, Eric. And we're on to something here, and it's going to be a blast. I'm looking forward to more shows. And eventually, I think we're going to wind up doing every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And please give Stretch a hug for me, please. Bruce, we love you.
Love Stretch.
Yep. And next time, folks, you can continue making comments. We'll probably see them on Facebook and YouTube. Tell your friends, tell your family. It's a fun learning experience, and we'll be creating new stuff for the show. Take care, everyone. I wish you all the very, very best.